Paid for many bicycles, many college tuition, many Christmas gifts.
We can't tell you where we are.
Everybody's got their own way they see it.
But we can tell you what we're looking for.
If you've got natural woodlands on your property, it has to have shade. So
Anna Lucio took us down a grass-covered path and into the woods.
Now the first rule of ginsenging is we don't talk about the ginseng.
Before we search,
You can see kind of the whole cycle of ginseng.
here's what we're looking for.
Okay.
A plant that looks like this. State law says if you are going to take it from the ground, it has to be at least a 3-pronged plant
When they're mature, they'll be really, really red.
or have 5 years of age so it's mature enough to produce berries.
And these seeds take 1 to 2 years to germinate.
I'm just out here taking what God's gave us. You know, what's out here in the mountains is ours.
You may have seen it here too,
Maybe some thieves. The fact that I could get some of my money back from the poachers that took it from me.
where the root has gone from underground to mainstream.
And in 6 to 8 years, you'd have had another big root like this.
With the popularity of ginseng, is there any worry that it will become obsolete?
Well, unless we have good stewardship of ginseng, good harvest, that affects it. If you are digging out of season, if you're not letting your berries mature, those things are things that impact the ginseng plant.
Lucio is with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture.
You can start looking. We're a little bit away from it, but.
They keep track of ginseng and record the harvest for every county.
And this is actually a trail.
Last year's state harvest weighed in at 20,000 pounds.
You're close.
This one.
Yes.
Yay! Okay. So that is a ginseng
That
plant.
is a ginseng plant. So
We can't dig out the root right now because it's out of season. The legal harvest season starts September 1st and runs through December 1st.
Or actually, it's a 3-prong. I'm sorry. 5 leaflets, and you got the 2 on the back and the 3 on the front. And if you open it up, you've got a beautiful little seed cluster in there.
If you haven't noticed,
Did you see this guy? No. That's a ginseng up underneath there.
she cares about this.
You gotta love to play in the dirt for this.
Lucio grew up on land like this.
In times of lean, if you take care of the ginseng, it will take care of you.
She can spot ginseng with the best of them.
And the first time I went to a woods and, there's one. There's that excitement that you can be able to find it. And even if you've seen a million, I think you would still be like, oh, found one.
A pound of ginseng roots these days will get you anywhere from $600 to $650. A profitable business if you've got a good eye and are willing to wait.
Out of season harvest is concerning, and we want to have policies and we want to have good diggers and growers out there that are cultivating it and putting those berries back and harvesting when ginseng needs to be harvested so that we can have it for the next generation.
A lot of times I'll shut that door and just look at it.
Its message is to try something, and if it fails, try something else.
The biggest thing above all, try something.
This has been on the back of Jim Ward's door since he became Letcher County's judge executive almost a decade ago.
But you can't just give up. That's the thing. You just can't give up.
His county is struggling financially.
It's really going to be some real tough decisions that nobody's going to want to make, but it will be a have to make.
Before 2012, coal severance money came in at about $700,000 a quarter.
You times that by 4, you're looking at $3.5, $4 million.
Last quarter, the coal severance tax paid Letcher County $205,000.
We're going through numbers right now to see how much money we have to have.
A big hit, Ward says, one they saw coming but couldn't overcome.
You have to look at today and tomorrow, but you better be looking 20, 25 years down the road.
Because the past was fruitful. In Ward's younger days, he says there were probably 70 active coal mines in the county, and for many, it was a family business.
The one hard hat was my dad's, and the other one was mine.
They now sit as reminders of a past way of life, one they're still coming to grips with leaving behind.
You hear nothing, you see nothing. It's just here.
When did this one close?
This one's been closed probably 3 years.
This was one of the biggest plants in the area. There were about 50 people who worked here, and that number multiplied throughout the county.
You know, come down the road, we just come down, you'd probably make 20, 25 trucks.
I didn't see any.
Didn't see any.
The emptiness here, though, Ward says, leaves room for growth.
We just have to try to figure out different ways to diversify our economy.
It's like the little things that get us.
Brad Shepard just opened Heritage Kitchen on Main Street.
Which one's the slick paper? There you go. I think that's the thermal.
He has 8 employees.
You can't depend on one thing. We've depended on one thing for too long.
And says the talk in his restaurant isn't sadness,
But they'd also like to place an order for pickup when they're done, okay?
quite the opposite.
All of the answers aren't there yet. It feels different. And there's some optimism, like, you know, we're going to find a way.
Trying to diversify our economies and see what works, what doesn't work. We're going to recruit new jobs in it. That's what we have to look at.
Ward says they need the next governor's help.
Our key phrase this year is don't give up.
They need ideas to grow their economy when overgrown coal mines are hard to look past.
That's what we got to realize. That, you know, there's always a way to figure out how to do something. The biggest thing above all, try something.
On most streets, you can probably find some kind of construction.
You can see people looking out their windows, trying to see what it is.
It's behind a house that sits along Tate's Creek, across from Morton Middle School. But just because it's behind a house doesn't mean you can't see it.
I think it's just the size that gets everybody.
Lee Chapman rents the house that's getting a big steel addition.
It's a conversation starter, that's for sure.
I'm going to charge $25 from now on, I've decided.
And a conversation is just what you'll get with the man who's building it.
While I was laying there, I said, gee, you know, I always wanted my Ferrari. Now I got money sitting in the bank and no kids and no wife. Glad I got a haircut today, aren't I? Yeah. Nothing to do. I'll just buy one.
And one,
and that's how it started,
eventually turned into 38 cars.
No, we're not going to run that one.
Mostly Ferraris and Maseratis.
No, I just like Italian cars. I like Italian women.
After Mitchell Barnes sold his business and a warehouse where he kept his cars, his plans for this backyard started taking shape.
It's all something I dreamt up.
These are the plans for what is shaping into a garage for 34 of his 38 cars, with a glass house attached to the back.
Why so much for a garage?
Because I want it.
He took us to see it, not in one of his Italian cars, but
It's a Toyota, because it starts all the time. If you want to walk next door across that path, and you can see Pete Townsend's Ferrari in there.
he showed us the 5-ton doors,
They're aircraft hangar doors.
meant to open to what he pictures as a dining hall in a castle. Marble floors and solid chestnut beams.
Once you get to the end of the garage, you have a clash of modern.
He says he'll live in the glass house right next to his cars.
Glass is 2.5 inches thick. It's missile proof.
The entire project, 4,600 square feet, is attached to this 1,500 square foot home.
Anyway, it's legal, 100%.
And that's a different style of development.
Jonathan Hollinger with Lexington Planning and Zoning says the area of Barnes's development has few restrictions in regard to what you can build.
Within that box, you can build 35 feet tall, and there's really no other restriction on the property.
This is the building permit for the garage. Hollinger says it was properly reviewed and approved by the Division of Planning.
I could put this out on a lake somewhere, but Starbucks I'd have to drive too far, you know.
He did go through all the proper channels. It was professionally designed and got his permits well before he started work.
It is unusual, he admits, for a steel structure to plant here where boards and bricks are more common.
No, I think we've gotten a few calls, mainly just asking what it is.
That's fitting. Just as his cars draw attention, so does the place he's building to house them. All by design.
When's it supposed to be done?
That's a good question.